Well, that's a good question. Whatever happened to the Crimson Justice? I don't know. Let's open the book and find out. Brand new book on Mad Cave Studios, written by Frank Tieri. 25 years in the industry. Started out with Marvel on Iron Man way back in 2000, and it's done some work for DC and Archie and X-Men, Wolverine, you name it. You go looking for Frank. He's out there. He's been there. Same with Inaki, Miranda. This is one half of the Miranda brothers. They've done Harley Quinn. They're doing Blade Forger right now, which is a book that we dove in and read number 1, and I've read 2 and 3 now at this point as well. And we did the review for number 1. Been on Judge Dredd, Godzilla. Again, just prolific. Almost as long, almost 25 years around in there as well. Maybe a few years later than that. 2004 or something like that. They've been around doing their thing. It's been 40 years since the Crimson Justice was in Empire City. Was seen in Empire City. There was a tragedy. There was an explosion, a fire. A hospital burned down. Lives were lost, including those of a couple of main heroes and a bad guy, and at this point in history they're almost a mythology, and people hardly even believe that these things happened. It was 40 years ago. That's a generation of people basically. But Commissioner Burke, he still has hope, and as he has done at least once a year, for the last 40 years, he's gone up there and he's fired up the red alert signal to try to bring the Crimson Justice in. It's like the bat signal, but it's a red. It's just like a siren, a giant siren that spinning ones that you put on top of of a cop car. The old school one where they just grab the single red dome and they throw it up on the top. It kind of looks, but it's a giant one, and so he still holds out hope that he's going to fire that thing up one night, and the Crimson Justice himself will show back up. But his hopes are quite literally slashed on this night. The city, it just keeps getting worse. Everybody knows it. The shopkeepers all know it, and in every neighborhood throughout the city, it's just not any better anywhere you go. And John knows it, and so do his customers. He sees it outside of his coffee shop every single day, and he doesn't do anything about it. He's not doing anything. He's even having a conversation with one of his regulars, I guess, and just talking about how he doesn't want to bring it into his coffee shop. He just wants to serve his paying customers, and I get that. I'm one of those people that is like that. I complain about government constantly, and I don't do a thing about it. I don't vote. I try not to pay taxes. I conduct as much of my business as I possibly can, my personal business as I possibly can in black and gray markets, and I use as many tricks and tools as is possible, legally possible, to pay as little into taxes and support as little of this criminal organization that's called the government as I possibly can. I do so little, so nothing about it. I don't even lobby for their removal or execution. I just tell you to leave them alone, let them be, watch them eat themselves, take your time, your money, your health, your wealth. That's the short version of the longer conversation that I have every couple hours every week on the regular show. But back to trying to figure out whatever happened to the Crimson Justice here. The city, it's just as bad as it is, and there's just nothing that you can really do about it. It was safer back when the heroes were around, when they were a thing, but then that tragedy happened, and they just sort of all disappeared at that point. Some of them met with other tragedies, stupidity, trying to be, think like kick-ass, like sort of normal people, not powered people that, they don't have any skills. They just have their time, their talent, what skills they've been able to teach themselves physically, mentally, guns, things, weapons, whatever they can train themselves with. They're not super heroes. They're just heroes, and they've acted, and some of them have acted poorly, and they've paid for it. Misadventure, getting themselves killed, hurt, turning to some questionable illegal ways of funding themselves, as sort of crime and things are not there for them to really, like the super crime, I guess, really, because doesn't it seem like there would be crime around all the time and that they could always get, but I guess that's part of the story, right? Is that they've met hard times, and that they're just normal people, and that it takes something extraordinary to make people do the superhero thing to try to be who they are. And really, John just doesn't have any time for all that. He wants to just feed those customers, feed those paying customers. But there is all of a sudden this cryptic message that says Mayhem, and that references Dr. Mayhem, who should be dead, along with the Crimson Justice and the Crimson Justice partner, sidekick, Reddy. These guys, they should all be dead. They should have all died a long time ago, but there's this cryptic message, and there's also this letter that was mailed by Commissioner Burke, sort of posthumously, after he was dead. And what does this all mean, and how does it tie into finding the Crimson Justice? I don't know. You'll have to go pick up the book. It's Whatever Happened to the Crimson Justice. It's available in your local comic shops. Now, if you can't get one, hit me up at AmazingFantasies.com. I can definitely help you out. And if you're ever in Topeka, Kansas, stop by the store sometime.